Welcome to Lucid Dreaming and the Cube of Space for the Alchemical Kabbalah. This week, we move from the southern face of the cube, which is the sun, and we move to the northern face, which is the tower key on the cube of space. So just something to ask yourself, what is spiritual awakening? You don't have to answer it. Just ask. Repeatedly ask yourself. Ask life and your spirit to show you, to assist you, to realize what this is. In many stories and in many experiences, life is like a dream. And then we wake up and realize that we're the one observing this dream. How often we practice observing life, as Margot just recently said, just watching, and the circumstances as a witness. Make this a practice. It's a very powerful practice. And if you do this every day, it will assist you in the re-identification of self, which is pretty much the spiritual path in a nutshell. So ask yourself this: how much do you want to wake up more and to know what is so or what is real and true for you? When it's time for us to awaken, we will. There's nothing that can stop this. There are things that we can do that assist us, and this is one of them. So we can assist this process through desire to do so and immersing ourselves in the Book of Wisdom, particularly this key. But this is the tower key. So this is called the key of awakening. So let's do what we do. Please unmute yourselves one at a time and share what speaks to you, what occurs to you in our key for the week, the tower.
I'll share. So when we awaken in the morning at sunrise, it is as if the solar energy itself comes to a lower place, or to Malkut, because we emerge in this what we would experience as a lower or much more exposed state, in the sense of we're immersed in this experience, right? Fully immersed with our senses. And whereas in what we would call a dream, we seem to feel fully, when we realize we're in a dream, that is, we seem to feel fully embraced, or in this safe place. It's as if we're realizing that there is really nothing to fear, because after all, we're dreaming. And so there's this sense of security and so on. But when we awaken, it's almost the opposite experience, where suddenly we're exposed. It's like the realization of something So that's something, I don't know. That's a different kind of twist to it, but I'm just kind of going along a train of thought there.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. I like
But
your entry point particularly. Yeah.
I did want to say though that if we think of the masculine and the feminine here kind of spiral the tower, it really shows the order of the chakras, or we started from one at the base and then to the solar at the center at the heart,
The heart. Yes.
and
Yes.
then back down. So it's as if the masculine and the feminine are like grasping that
Interesting.
center.
Yeah. So, yeah. So for everyone, this is the Mars key, and it's the second the second wheel of light within, the second metal ascending from the root chakra. It's that um it's that power center just below the navel, just like kind of like when that raw just force and power.
It's all coming from the sun. And I
Excellent.
look at this as my heart just became overwhelmed by life. And then at a certain point, the heart just and gives into this awakening. And that clears everything out so that you can see and purify and get things right, back in order, so to speak, to make sense of things in any way. But it does come from the sun. It comes from the heart. And it changes everything.
Excellent. Thank you.
I'm just getting that this key is just blowing any preconceptions you have, just blowing them off the earth. It's time to start again, start anew. And it's, taking you to a place where you can begin to do that. I don't know if that's right, but that's what
No,
I'm.
that is very good. Can you speak a little bit more to that?
Let's see. So to me, it's throwing you off the ivory tower, and you are to the energy is coming from the sunlight. Starlet just said.
Mhm.
I see the yods, 12 on the left and 6, 8, 10 on the right.
Perfect. So that's 22.
Okay, and is that the 22 arcana?
Yes.
I don't know. Okay.
It's every intelligence in the whole major arcana. Perfect.
Okay. And cool. And well, there's 5 clouds. 5 always means to me your senses. So somehow blowing you out of the sense world. I don't know.
You see 5 clouds or 4?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 at the top.
Are you counting this as 2 here?
Oh
So,
yeah, I did. Is that 1? I'm sorry.
no worries. Just asking. It's okay.
And
You can see 5.
I was just saying, my main thing when I just look at it, I'm like, oh, it's just blowing any preconceptions you have away and
Yes.
just starting you fresh.
100%. This key, when we really truly are engaged with this key, at least something, at least one thing at minimum, and usually it's much more, but at minimum, there is something in our life that we is completely overthrown. Something we believed, a belief system, an identity, a pattern, a habit. It is completely this is kind of life stepping in and assisting us in waking up.
I love the crown. How it's just falling off. It's like, there goes my ego. It's like they tuck away.
Right.
We're making it
Right.
right at some point, and it's just
Right.
there to my crown's falling to the ground now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was the false crown, right?
Yeah.
You know, the thing is, so a lot of times it's kind of in the story, right, about spiritual things that we have in our modern Western world, that the ego's bad or non-spiritual and blah blah blah. Here's the thing. It's not that the ego is bad or an identity is bad. We have to have this to function in the world. The thing is, it's not even close to all that or who we are. That's it. And the grace is that being us being what's the word, divested, I'm using big words here, us being relieved of that belief or that identity that's not the whole picture or even close to it. Okay, who else?
So,
I was, oh, good. You
excuse
first,
me.
Patrick. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. The thing that always strikes me are the yod patterns. You have the what is that? The male symbol on by the sun there, and what is that? An infinite
You
8?
talking about right here? This looks like the tree of life pattern, but I can see what you're saying.
It looks like a male symbol to me.
Okay.
With the circle at the top, the cross, and the
Yeah.
below.
Yeah, I get it. Right. Or
and then,
Venus.
and then on the left, that looks like an 8.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that too. The 8 with the 2 yods in the center of it. Or you can see
Yeah.
in the negative space, right? In the unsolved or here,
Yeah.
the figure 8, which we know is the figure number of strength.
Yeah. And also, it gives me the impression of infinity, but I don't know
Yeah,
if that has
absolutely.
anything to do.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
I'll just share real fast that there's actually 2 things. One, just jotted down that just the way that the card, especially with the sun and then the lightning bolt, that's the lightning bolt down the tree of life and striking the crown, that whole thing, just that beauty and truth are the destroyers of illusions and falsehoods. And just that thing of, again, just that, that divine, starlight thing you shared, this that burst of down the tree of life, knocking down the illusions, just this is what we are, but that stripping that away, getting to the truth as it breaks down. Because there was something you'd mentioned earlier about with regards to the total number of yods being, looks like the 22 intelligences. It's like, it reminds me of a phrase I came across a while back where it's just like, when you strip it all away, it's like, it's the eternal truths, the spiritual truths, like that's the real essence. And I think of, just
Very
values and
nice.
morals and
Yes.
ethics and all that.
Yeah.
And then the rest, yes, we need an ego, we need a world, we still have names, we're in these bodies, but it's like, make no mistake about the true essence of, the real riches, when you say the riches in heaven that are stored
Yes,
above,
that's
that
great.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah. So it's just, so with that, it's just, I'll stop it there with it, but just that the crown really does help paint that picture of just like, it's like, okay, you can play pretend, but now we're growing up. Now this is an evolution.
Mhm.
So I'll
Very
stop there
nice.
and there. Yep.
Excellent, Easy. Thank you. That reminds me of something I'd like to share with everyone. Paul Case used to teach to say this when we wanted to accomplish anything. And I think this is worth repeating, especially since you brought up all the powers here that are our powers. The 22 yods are the 22 intelligences of the major arcana, which are all within us and within which we all also live in the greater mind. And what he would recommend is, if you want to accomplish something, let's say lucid dreaming, one powerful suggestion for the subconscious is to say, I will apply all of my powers to accomplish being awake in my dream. And see, every one of these little yods is that kind of cues in the subconscious, say, okay, we're going to use all of them. We're using everything, all we got.
That's nice, Eli.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thanks to Paul Case. But it is really useful. Who else?
Can you relate this card to the previous card, the devil? Is this like coming out of the devil? What do you,
Well,
like the
in the
next thing?
sequence, that's a good question. So in the sequence of the major arcana, the deceiver, the devil key is key 15, so it precedes it. And this is key 16. Did you have a point you wanted to make about it, or are you just bringing that up?
Well, I wanted to see what you think about it, but
Well, okay.
I'm thinking of, let me just say, I'm thinking of the way there's that voluntary servitude in the devil key because their chains are loose around their
Mhm.
necks. They,
Yeah.
they can walk away at any time. If
Right.
there's something in that, then that, to be knocked free of that would require
Yes.
trauma like we see here.
Well, excellent. Thank you for bringing that up. So it's in
Yeah.
this lesson, but I'll go ahead and mention it. One thing Jason Lauderhand speaks about this key and talks about the deceiver or the devil key before, which I think is worth repeating. In the deceiver key, they're having a great time until they're not, right? And that's kind of a state of being in hell. I mean, that's why it's the devil, right? And this is where life steps in, because we can't stay there forever, despite what the mass mind would have you believe. This is where life steps in and helps us out of those habits, those patterns that no longer serve us or no longer serve life. And the opposites associated with the letter Pe down here, which means mouth. That's why you have a little mouth there. It's the letter Pe. The opposites associated with this key are sin and grace. So the greater the error that we have, the greater the grace. And no matter the appearance of things, it's always grace. It's coming from the Son.
Can I speak?
Please.
Thank you. On the connection between the devil card and the tower, as I recall, the devil card representing laughter or arrogance. And this card, on the other hand, is the downfall from that arrogance,
Yeah.
from that laughter, the pride.
Yeah.
This is a total shattering of your illusions.
Yes. Good point, Patrick. So, in the Western tradition, the deceiver key, the devil, whatever, it is the state of consciousness that does not acknowledge that there is an intelligence greater than itself. And this key gives us the living, real life experience that that is simply not the case. That there is an intelligence, the sun, which is far, far superior to the intellect and the emotions for that matter, and is actually running things. Who else?
Patrick, I I really like what you said there. Laughter equals arrogance. That's really quite amazing because I think in the order we normally would call mirth using laughter to dispel darkness or to dispel anything that seems evil. But
Well,
this is another take on it.
That's
I like
true.
this. Yeah.
There are different aspects, right? There is a joy.
Yeah.
There is a mirth that is true joy, that is childlike, that does dispel the patterns and break up the patterns of fear.
Yeah.
And then there, of course, is the you can tell the difference, right? We always know know the difference between mocking laughter and laughter of true joy, or when we finally realize that the thing we've been terrified of is not real, or the it's not the eternal truth of our being.
Yeah. But you know that
We always have to we always have to take the duality of these images, because there are those two sides to it.
Yes, grace, sin, and
there's
grace.
that arrogance and pride, or that just innocent. Well, in this case, I don't know if we can ever call the devil innocent, but yeah, that mirth.
Yeah, he's not joyful. There's no joy in that card, and but their arrogance, yeah, because those two people, you know, just loosely wearing those chains, they've got that kind of, you know, up yours kind of attitude. You know, they're standing there proud, and yet they have chains on.
Can I add something?
Please.
Oh, please.
There is no devil in the card. The goatee is white, and it's God pulling the wool over your eyes. The mirth is we laugh
when we realize that.
Yeah, when we realize that. And also, if you don't have a sense of humor on this path, you freak out otherwise.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You have to have a sense of humor to do
100%.
I'm gonna write that down.
And she has a jester cap on. It's sort of like the sun. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there's no devil there. And the idea of calling it a devil puts it outside of yourself, so you don't have to take responsibility for yourself, which is what the two guys in chains are doing.
Excellent. Thank you, Margot. So let me just throw this in here also, just for your pondering, okay? We don't know what's really going on down here below, right? We don't see. All we know is key 17 shows a beautiful unveiled goddess in a garden in pristine starlight. But let me just throw this suggestion in. We just left the sun key. Remember? And there were children unveiled and dancing around just 5 levels of stone that were kind of protecting them.
Mm-hmm.
What we see in the tower key is the structures we've made that are no longer of service, and they're destroyed. What if those structures crumble down, fill up this space, and green grass grows, and you just have 5 remaining here? What if the sun then shows itself as it truly is, the benevolent source and self, and these states of consciousness that have grown old are regenerated into the minds in their mind, right? They've had a renewing of the mind. Just saying. Do you see that as a
Yes.
possibility?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thinking about
I
like,
see.
the
Sorry.
what is the card with the tilling the ground? I was thinking of that card as well. It's
Oh,
like,
the death key or
yeah, the death-
transition. Yeah. Yeah. These three are all our they are typically the ones that everyone avoids. Now, if you remember, if you look on the simple tree, where do they all fall? Between the lower personality
Mhm.
and the sun. Right there in the middle of the lower mind. Remember?
Mhm.
Let me show you here. Let's just look at this real quick. Because we're just talking about them. All right? This is the lower mental plane, the tower key. And it basically connects all of our thoughts and feelings, right? The intellect and desire bodies of the personality. Everything below the central self, the sun, is the personality. It's what we identify with a lot when we're incarnate. And it's the vehicles through which the self operates. But right here is the key of the deceiver from the intellect seeing the central sun, because the intellect, it's hard for the intellect to really grasp this great being, the solar self. And then the transition key, Starlet's talking about, connects the desire body to the sun. And then, of course, we're now on the tower, so it makes this little triangle here. Isn't that interesting?
Mhm.
And as we evolve and grow up into our real self and identify more with our true self up here in the heart of the tree and up here in the divine self, because this is its lower expression, the personality is seen just for more of what it is. And we identify more with that witnessing consciousness that is here in Tiferet and the creative intelligence that we are. So you can say simply, I am is here, the divine self. I am whatever it is that you are, it then comes into manifestation. But I just wanted to point out that those three things that are usually the keys that virtually everyone avoids until they can't avoid them any longer as inner experiences on the tree are right here, just below the sun. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay.
Can I add something to the key? There is a trinity on the tower key. It's on fire. It's the three windows.
Mhm.
Ah, nice.
Power,
And
force, balance.
so, yeah, and you've got, it's like, hey, wake up
Yes.
to create. I
Yes.
mean, it's all fire, power, moving, and you don't
Yep.
get to go back.
Yes.
You can't go back from this destruction.
That is so correct. That
So
is
the
spot on.
Yeah, the Trinity is the law of how creation works, and there it is on the key.
This is called the exciting intelligence in the Sephir Yetzirah. And I promise you, this is not dull.
That sounds like a euphemism. That
So therefore you
exciting
laugh.
intelligence.
Yeah, therefore you laugh a
that-
lot.
Yeah, it sounds like a euphemism, that exciting intelligence. It's really more like scare the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Well,
exactly.
there's that.
Yeah, and-
well, okay. It's funny you
And
say
none
that.
of your friends like you anymore.
Yeah.
So think about this. Like in all of the hero stories, there's always that thing, the adversary that the hero has to face. And even when you're aware that this is a real possibility. It only helps, if at all, a very small amount when you really are faced with walking up to, willingly walking into that cave or into that fire. And however, take heart in this, because the sun here, the holy guardian angel, even if we face plant, it will support us and see us through. But we learn that as we step out on it. But this is a very, very real experience that we all go through, and often more than once. But yeah,
Not for
it's
the
exciting.
not for the faint at heart.
I was going to
No.
say it's bottomless. So you will go through
Yes.
it more than once.
Yes.
And again. And again.
It's like, didn't I already do this?
Well, I
Yeah.
really like this card. I really like this card, honestly.
Okay.
I see in it, like I see the world key in it. You can see the 4 clouds. There's no more animals there. But it's like in my imagination, I'm still seeing those 4 animal faces in the clouds. And I see from the sun key that it's like, instead of just those 5 layers, it's built up to this big tower, like a protective tower, almost like we're growing and we're like a caterpillar in a cocoon in this little safe space, right? And I see that happening in there, like it's a beautiful thing happening. And then suddenly it like explodes, you know, or the caterpillar comes out. And I don't know if you've ever seen a caterpillar come out of a cocoon, but I mean, it's fascinating, but it's not very nice. I mean, goo drips down and it's not really that pretty, even though then the butterfly comes out and it's amazing. And I see the yods, it's like all this energy released. And anyway, I do
was
really like
previewing this
card.
card last week.
See that again?
I think I was already previewing this card this last week.
Okay.
The tower, the tower is
'Cause I don't wanna
22
go-
layers.
I don't want to go through this again.
That's the prevailing wisdom,
luck.
Patrick.
Yeah.
You know, I think if I go through it again, I'd like it to be nicer the next time. But the results are so
Good
wonderful.
luck with that, Susan.
Yeah, good luck.
That's resistance. So if we say we don't want
Exactly.
to, we're
Yeah.
fight more.
You're
You know what?
projecting on your yeah. Just
Uh-oh.
You know what they say in hell, right? I hate it here.
Oh my God. So I just wanted to say, I was seeing what Margot saw was the law is dead center in this card. There is the law right there, the triangle.
and
Boom,
it's
boom,
sitting
Power,
on
source, energy, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. That
Yeah.
makes all happen, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, okay, if that is actually 4 clouds, then that's representative possibly of the elements, because 4 is always the elements, right? The air, the water, the fire. You can see the fire. The air could be in the clouds, and the earth is that brown right there holding
Yeah.
the tower up. And it's like, wait, where's the water? The water's down below. They're going into the water.
Okay.
The mind.
You hope.
I like that one.
I was hoping they were going to land on a green, grassy knoll.
Yeah.
But
no,
Well-
what you brought up,
Of love.
Rachel, is great.
Well, at least they're
because
not
the
just
earth-
going into the rocks.
the tower is resting on the earth,
yeah.
and you can't do that.
You know, it's
You have to
interesting.
rest on your inner self, not the
The
earth.
the intellect's being overthrown here. But I really love in the Hum Tarot how the flame looks like a heart.
Yeah.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Fire. Our hearts are red, right?
I don't think you can soften up this card.
And no, and
Well-
you can't rely on all you see is all there is, which is what
That's
the
right.
earth represents. The tower
That's
is
right.
being demolished,
Yep.
and it's because
Yes.
all your world rests on out here.
Mhm.
Exactly. This key is kind of like, you know, Shakespeare's all the world's a play, all the world's a stage, right? And men and women actors.
Mhm.
This key is kind of like being shown this and being shown it in such a way. Has everybody seen the Truman Show with Jim
Awesome
Carrey?
movie.
Maybe
Yeah,
a-
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just
Oh, long
imagine
time ago. Yeah.
keeping your sanity, like not, you know, losing it completely. Just imagine being shown that everything that you've gone through, the place you've worked for 10 years, what if it really wasn't anything like you thought it was?
Yes.
Okay.
That-
We're
that
gonna
would be
move
easy.
we're gonna move forwards. Thank you all, as always, for the perfect sharing insights. So this kind of builds on something Margot was saying earlier. A true spiritual awakening leaves us in a state where we simply cannot unknow that which we have awakened to. There's no going back. And I think that might be one big reason why we tend to avoid this key so much. Right? Because once we know, we're accountable, right? For whatever it is that we know. And we can't pretend. I mean, we can, but not very well. So there's that. But take heart. I've been told by some people pretty what I would consider legit sources that life is good. Okay. So the opposites associated with the letter Pe, which is at the bottom right corner, and I recommend you end your meditations each night with focusing on that letter. That letter Pe means mouth. And it's the organ or the vehicle through which the spirit speaks the word. The living word. That's what is coming down from the sun here. Was it sharper than a sword? Right? Yeah. Its opposites are sin and grace. So the error in the key, no matter what it is, it's always a misidentification of the self. It's that simple. And the grace, the creator, is to assist us to remember our real self. This key really does assist us out of the nightmare or the erroneous dreams that we're holding on to in the self and subconscious mind. It's a useful thing to intend, and if you pray, it's really useful to pray for assistance to wake up. This prayer does not go unheard. The universe, the living being, the benevolent being of the sun hears these things. And if it doesn't directly, I assure you, the ones that serve this great being hears these pleas. The Tower Key shows us our extremely limited perception in our own awareness, how it's been constricted and constricted by our own construction of words and ideas that limit and cause this appearance and experience of a separation from what we call life or the real, anything and everything. Just think about, just simply, just watch it. Don't judge it, but just think about how often you see and perceive your own self as separate from everything else, every person, everything. And then look how simple it is to see through that. Knowing that the air that we breathe is the identical air that everyone and everything living in this planet is breathing. We are that much one. We are all within the aura of the great sun, that much one. And we're unique, and everyone is truly, genuinely special, you know, just beautiful beings. And we are all yet one. Okay. This key helps us. So if there's something in your life you would like to see transformed, ask the sun with this key to assist you in it and to do the things that the personality can't do. Remember, the spiritual path in a nutshell is just re-identification of the self. As we practice more witnessing, we remember ourselves to our actual self and not its countless forms of expression. So, if we think we're the body, we know we're not just the body. The body is a temporary form of expression. But who the self is the one that we were prior to this manifestation. The one that is knowable now and who we truly are behind all appearances in this manifestation. And who and what we will be when all of this scenery is just a memory. I know one teacher states it very simply, and I really love this. He says, you know, we are, if we need a definition to shoot for, we are infinite, eternal beings of light, life, and love. That's a really useful definition. So to what degree have we remembered or realized that we are that in truth? Infinite, eternal beings of light, life, and love. And there's the great work. The remembering of the one that we are, which we see perfectly expressed in the Trinity of the 3x7 layout here. The high priestess is memory. The hermit is the one self, the adept that one is, the Ancient of Days, the fancy word for saying who you always were, who you really are, and who you will be. And that light of eternal light, life, and love strikes this tower and takes the materials that are destroyed and uses them for finer vehicles of expression. Because Margot says a lot, you know, nothing's ever lost. Things just change, right? That's one of the laws of thermodynamics, right? Energy is never created or destroyed, right? It just changes form, something like that. I'm not a physicist, but all that was is, and all that shall be. Now, remember this about the self. The self is not something that we have to create or make true. We couldn't even do it if we wanted to. All we have to do is remember who and what we are. Persistently practicing the core practice leads us to that inner realization. But in the Tower Key, to remember the real true self, we have to let go of all that we are not. We have to stop grasping, right? See how their hands are just open? We have to stop this grasping for something. There's no need to grasp when we already are made perfect by our Creator. It's a real gift to have all of you participate in this group, in this class, and I want to thank all of you very much. Blessings to us all this week as we practice with the Tower Key to remember the self. This concludes our outer class on lucid dreaming, the cube of space, and the northern face of the tower. The floor is now open for any questions, comments.
Yeah, what about self, not self?
Yes.
And I don't have the answer. Just an inquiry.
Okay. So the question is, what about self, not self? Okay.
I don't think you can have one without the other.
Really?
But I don't think I can think it either. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Creation doesn't think in negatives. It doesn't think in knots. If you say not this, it just hears the this. So that's why we have to watch what we say, peh, the mouth that comes out, what we speak. You know what I saw in the Tower Key? The breaking of the spell that we've created using our words.
Perfect. Yes.
On ourself, which we have accepted.